I am alive in my own space. I just love, So I didn't really have fun like that in my teenage age, and I remember most times I was depressed.
Teenage stage is the stage where teenagers want to mingle. There's a space, there's a gap, there's something about being a teenager that makes you want to have friends, that makes you want to relate, that makes you want to have this community of fellow teenagers, sing with them, play with them, and all that. So you need
please be open to people who are already into the teenage ministry, people who are working with teenagers, be open to them. If you need to talk to them, learn from them, read books, on teenage, on parenting. My God,
because you felt like something was deprived you of, something was missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of times that I needed to go for rehearsal was war. Yeah. Stuff happens even in the church.
Yes.
There are also wolves in the church. But growing up, I already knew that I had the gift of music. I wanted to sing. I had so many traumatic experiences, especially with my dad. So many times when I was supposed to go for a program, even at that young age, I have them like still very clearly in my mind.
Hi guys, welcome to today's podcast. This is Everything Teen Podcast, and on this podcast, we discuss everything teenager. We bring people on this podcast to share their stories, their journey, and experiences they've had that can help teenagers navigate their teenhood. Isn't that such a huge blessing? So if you're a parent and you have a teenager, bring them close. Give them a cup of popcorn because they need to watch this podcast episode, this particular episode, with a cup of popcorn and something chilled. So on this episode, I have someone amazing, a beautiful damsel in the studio with me to do gracious to today's conversation. So I'm going to introduce our today's guest, no other than my very own sister, my friend, an amazing gospel artist. I guess you must have seen her on your TV. So meet UG. Ugoma Arisa, popularly known as UG. She's a gospel artist, a Jesus baby, and she's a business consultant. And yet another thing interesting about her is that she's the host of Don't Drop the Mic podcast. Guys, you need to watch that. You need to follow her and look out for the content, amazing content that she's dishing out on that platform. So let's start this conversation this way. Hi.
Hello.
You look gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you.
So the interesting thing about today's episode is that we are dressed alike.
Exactly. I was like, what's going on?
And I'm feeling myself. I'm really feeling myself. We're tuning together, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's start today's conversation by taking us through your teenhood, your teenage journey. How was it? How was your teenage journey? Just share a little highlight. We'll really get deep down, but let's start with the peripherals. Yeah.
Okay. So like she has already said, my name is UG. Full names Ugoma Arisa. Well, I'm fondly known as UG.
And we like it like that.
Thank you. Okay, so my teenage. First off, I grew up in a Christian home. Yeah, that's the first thing you should know. Everybody knows that. I grew up my parents were Christians, and not just Christians, pastors.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know what it can look like. Teenagers, we know, right?
Yeah.
And so there was love in the family, yeah, but in the bid to try to make us grow up right and stay away. I grew up in Aba, by the way, yeah. So Aba was kind of a bit rough. So my parents tried to
shield you from the environment.
Exactly. So people that know me today, they still don't believe that I grew up in Aba. And I always tell them thanks to my parents because they created their own environment in the home in Aba. So they told us everything they wanted us to know, but we were just within that environment. We were sort of locked up in that box. I'm grateful to God for that upbringing because it makes me stand out everywhere I go. Okay. But, it came with its disadvantages as well. Yeah.
Of course, every good thing, everything that has advantage also has disadvantages.
It came with its disadvantages because I was not allowed to mingle with people of my age. We never went to parties. Never.
And you know what it means to miss parties as a teenager. God. Because that's like, come on, that's the center of your...
We never went to parties, my sister. Yeah. Like, even birthday parties of children in the church. Like, people that you knew that even their parents were pastors as well. We never went. Okay. And it was not out of a place of wickedness. Of course. It was just my parents trying to be careful to raise us up in the right way. But, you know, it had its effects on me. Naturally, I'm the introverted type. So it made me even...
lock in a lot
more.
My
God, way more introverted. I did not know how to relate with people, like go out there to make friends. Like normally if you meet me, I'm a very nice person. But to say that I just wake up and I want to
initiate relationship or conversation, I can imagine, I can relate. So
it wasn't, I mean, it was like I became very bad at friendships, at relationships, maintaining relationships. I am alive in my own space. I just love, you know. So I didn't really have fun like that in my teenage age. And I remember most times I was depressed. My God. I was.
Yeah, because you felt like something was deprived you of. Something was missing. Yes. Yeah.
I remember a lot of times that I needed to go for rehearsal was war. Jesus. In as much as my parents wanted us to participate in you know, church activities also, but they were also very careful because they knew that stuff happens even in the church. Yes. You know, there are also wolves in the church. But growing up, I already knew that I had the gift of music. I wanted to sing. I had so many traumatic experiences, especially with my dad. So many times when I was supposed to go for a program even at that young age, I have them like still very clearly in my mind. And I'm set to go. Nobody told me you're not going anywhere or anything. I would have prepared myself. I would have prepared myself, but just like
at the nick of time.
Oh my goodness. And then they say, no, we changed our mind.
Why give me the hopes in the first place?
And you know, as young people, it was so heartbreaking. I had a lot of heartbreaks. I had a lot of, and there's nothing I could do about it.
There is nothing you can do. Are you going to fight them? They are your parents.
So I had a lot of traumatic experiences. At some point, I just decided, fine, let me leave the music thing now. Let me just do it as it comes, anyhow. And one of the things that also happened in my my teenagehood was that I didn't really know who I was. Let's say at some point I had identity issues. I've always known that I was made to be great. Special and all of that, but I didn't know who I was. It was when I started knowing who I was and at least loving myself just the way I was when I even got born again and got baptized with the Holy Spirit and then entered into a good relationship with the Holy Spirit that he started telling me he loved me just the way I was and all of that. That's when I even started being comfortable. But prior to that time, I had issues of confidence. I had
identity crisis.
I didn't know what was going on.
I love it when you say, I mean, this the essence of this entire conversation and this podcast is for parents to look at these stories and be able to identify with the patterns. Because many times we have parents who are raising kids, who are raising teenagers, and they feel like they are protecting them. They feel like they're doing a great job. They're doing their best. I mean, you can't even judge them. But then again, we also need to revisit our structures. Our parenting curriculum. We need to revisit the patterns we're using to raise our children. So that as much as you're trying to raise them to become XYZ, you are also doing that in a way that will not break them eventually. Because what shall it profit you if you raise a well-behaved child who doesn't have identity, who doesn't understand who they are, simply because you didn't allow them the right expressions? So there is a limit here, but there's also a boundary to which you should allow them go. So we're going to come into all of that as we move on in this conversation. So you mentioned something about music. So at what point did you discover that you love music and you wanted to do music? Was it because of family devotion? Maybe you were always leading the song. So how exactly did you come into that understanding?
I think it was because I was already involved in the children choir.
Okay.
I did not even, I was just singing, but I didn't know that I could sing. I think I remember very well when I knew that what I was doing was like singing and I was doing well, was when I was singing when I was little and someone was like, "Who is singing?" And then she came out and then saw this
The
little
tiny little.
and she was like, "Oh my god,
Wow.
that's a powerful voice." And then I started, because before I knew I was doing something, but I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't sure if I could sing well, because sometimes I would sing waiting for affirmation, waiting for someone to just say you're doing well, but I never really heard
Got
it.
it.
Yeah. So as I continued with the church choir and everything, my directors then started picking me out. Sometimes they'll give me solo, sometimes they'll tell me that was when I started noticing that okay,
There's
so
something
there's
here.
something here. There's something about this, and then I just started embracing it. And
Okay. Awesome. So, and I must say that your music journey has been an amazing one. I've always, I mean, guys, we have a connection. We have a journey together. We were in the same fellowship.
yes,
All thanks to Feka. If you don't know what that means, Google it. So, whenever I see you, Yuji, on stage, there's a presence that comes with your singing. And one thing about your songs is that it's a ministration, right? You could tell that this person is not just entertaining you. This person is trying to take you to the throne room. And I love that about you, that you're not just singing the random regular songs. You're trying to do something that is ultimately rewarding for both the people that are joining in that atmosphere of worship and all that. So it makes your worship session phenomenal. It just stands out. And I love that about you guys. You need to watch her. I mean, just scroll through her page. You will see a lot of work that she's doing. Okay, so let's talk about your teen stage again. Let's revisit. So there's this thing that is very predominant among teenagers, and it's bullying. So we have it in different versions. Online bullying, which is predominant today because of social media and the internet. And then physical bully, where someone that is stronger literally overpowers you, takes things from you and all that. So we know what bully is pretty much. And yeah, it starts from childhood, but a lot of people also experience it during teenhood. So did you experience any of that? Because you look, someone can say I mistake you for a 14-year-old. So I can imagine how little you look.
Surprisingly, when I was growing up, I remember when I was 13, I was big.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was big.
Okay, go ahead, tell me more.
I remember when I was 13 years, people did not believe that I was 13.
So you were looking bigger.
I was looking big, yeah. So, but as I grew, I started looking.
A transition happened.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot in common because
happened to you too?
In my GSS 3, I literally remember people calling me Orobo.
Wow.
You won't believe it. If you see my picture, I was like this.
You serious?
Oh yeah. I was that big. I was plumpy, but something, a transformation happened. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how we got here. And that's how we've been here for the longest time. And we are rocking it. I have no apologies. So that's how it's going to be for the longest. In fact, this stature, I'm going to maintain it till I'm 80. Okay, so let's get back to the conversation. So what happened?
About bullying, I don't really think I had so much of bullying because already, like I told you, we had an environment.
Okay.
So I didn't even have the chance to.
There was no space for bullies to get in.
There was no space.
How about in school?
Yeah, it was just school.
Okay.
And the schools that I attended, there weren't so much of that.
Okay.
Because it wasn't, the schools were, like, how would I say?
Well regulated.
You get.
Yeah.
So
everybody was protected, more or less.
Yeah, the much that I knew that happened was that I couldn't get in the circles of, when you're talking of those kind of girls.
Happening girls. I get it.
Thank
Clicks.
That's happening girls.
You can't get into, they won't let you.
Exactly. Yeah, because I was I was branded church girl. It was on my face. I couldn't hide it.
You will spoil their plans.
Exactly.
So it's obvious.
Just in fact. So I mean, when they are doing their things or being whoever I've always been just on my own and maybe just having a friend. Of course, I was intelligent, so at least
you could cross with that.
Exactly. So at least even if they need anything, they will still come to me. But to say that I felt among, I never felt.
You were always a misfit.
Oh my god, that's the word. Somehow I was just always a misfit, and that was part of the things that had a dent in my identity and making me depressed and making me feel less of myself because at some point I didn't know I was beautiful, honestly.
Oh wow.
I didn't know.
Really?
I was like, is it that you understand now? Like girls,
oh yeah, I can imagine.
Other people,
yes.
I didn't know that it was because obviously this girl
is not reachable.
You can see that she's from a godly home. You could just see that. So me, on the other hand, I was thinking that okay, maybe it's because I'm not very attractive. I'm not very well polished. I'm not,
Yeah.
So that's what I know I faced. From that angle. Yeah.
Awesome. I love this conversation because, at the end of the day, what parents need to understand is that when you are doing something for someone, at the same time, you are doing something to them. So you need to be sure that this thing I'm doing for you is not to you. What that means is, for instance, if I am protecting you, which is gorgeous, which is a brilliant idea to protect you from the influences, but I'm also taking that time to put in you the things that will stay, that would counter whatever that will come as a result of this, because you realize that teenage stage is the stage where teenagers want to mingle. There's a space, there's a gap, there's something about being a teenager that makes you want to have friends, that makes you want to relate, that makes you want to have this community of fellow teenagers, sing with them, play with them and all that. So you need to be confident in your own space so that you will carry that confidence into that community, so that even if they reject you, it doesn't turn to be something that will hurt your mind or your understanding about yourself. And that's what this conversation is about. So as a parent, if you're watching this, you need to constantly remind yourself or ask yourself, the way I'm raising my teenagers, can they survive outside my home? I don't mean will they misbehave. It's a different thing. It's a different thing that they will not misbehave, but it's also a different thing that they have a full understanding and appreciation of who they are. So is there a conversation about who you are? I don't mean you are a pastor's child, or don't misbehave. No, that's not the conversation. Is there a way to put in them that help them to go through the journey of self-awareness? Self-awareness, understanding who you are, that is devoid of who your parents are, understanding who you are, and then accepting who you are, because it is in alone moments that people are made. So if they understand that, then arm them with executive functioning skills, communication skills, navigation skills because definitely no matter how long you protect them, now here you are,
relationship skills.
Exactly. So because a time will come when they will leave the confines of your house and you won't have control over them again. So they need to have those things in place so that even if they leave your home, they can know for sure that, first of all, I know who I am. Number one. So I'm not intimidated by whatever anybody's doing. And if peradventure you are intimidated by who I am, that's your business. But I know who I am. So that alone, that awareness is if that's the only gift you give to your child growing up, that's a beautiful one. So, but let me not go too much into preaching. Let me ask you another question, UG. We all grew up, right? Yeah. And a time comes when you get into a corner that you didn't want to get into, or you do something that you're not so proud of, and and you're thinking, oof, I wish I didn't do this. And I mean, we all have that. In fact, we pray that our box of secrecy won't be too much, because some people, their own box is as big as this studio. And for some people, their own is this small. So, are there things that you would want to share with our audience that are mistakes that you made, and probably one teenager or a parent could learn from it so that they can do better?
Wow. Okay. I would start by saying one of the mistakes that I made as a teenager was not having a mentor.
Very
that
important.
was one of the major mistakes I made. And I would encourage parents to, aside to, let your child have a mentor. And please, there are actually wolves out there. So make sure that you know who this person is.
Yeah.
You help pick, check your child and know the angle he's going. Yeah. Just make sure you know who the person is. But it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that you'll be trying to say, so many messages you'll be trying to pass. Your child will never hear it from you. That's the truth. But hearing it from someone else, they could listen. So
helps.
That was one of the major mistakes I would say I made. And it wasn't because I didn't want to have a mentor, but because I was not the regular child. So most times, people that did not understand would think I was being, let's say, rebellious. I would never fit into the normal box. I was never that kind of teenager that would fit. In fact, my brother told me at some point, you're rebellious, naturally rebellious, Abby. But it's always because I want to. You tell me to do something, I want to know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But now we're Nigeria, so in Africa,
you're not permitted to think with your head.
Yeah. So that was one of the things I wish that I did, because like they always say, a mentor helps you cut off so many experience. There's so many things you learn from experience, but it is the longer route.
Exactly.
So your mentor helps you to cut short your, experience journey.
Yeah.
That's one of the major things, mistakes I made. Then, which other mistake? I'm trying to just figure out. Anyways, there are times when, there were actually times when I, as a Christian girl, I left the faith. People don't know, yeah. There was a time where I left the faith because of some things that had happened to me in my, oh my God, in my journey. And they were all just happening at the same time. And somehow I allowed the devil to lie to me that God didn't love me. And somehow I just told God to just leave me alone.
Take a break on you.
I just took a break. No matter anything anybody was saying at that moment.
Yeah.
I was still a teenager in school. I was the music director in school, but I just left church. I stopped going to church. And it was just God that saved me, because I started almost mingling with the wrong set of people. I think one of the major things that even helped me at that point was, naturally, I didn't know where to go from, because normally the way I grew up, I didn't have access to a lot of people, that crowd.
Yeah.
But I stepped out and I made up my mind to mingle with one or two wrong people. That was a very major mistake I made, because it took me back like
10 years back.
Jesus, it took me back. I have never been in such a dark place in my life. God help me. I think I was telling someone just of recent. I made up my mind. I think my parents, if you're watching this, you've never heard this, but I got to that point where I made up my mind to do drugs or do alcohol. Just something to get me high, I just made up my mind to misbehave. Yes, because the devil lied to me that you obviously can see God doesn't love you, this, that. And I bought into those lies. But somehow, I think it was because I didn't even know where they sell alcohol. I didn't even know where guys that sell drugs hung out in school. I didn't even know. If I had known.
Thank God you didn't know.
I'm telling you.
Thank God you didn't know.
I'm telling you. So that mistake, it took me. It was God's grace that found me back, because at some point where I was I tried, I was there. I was in that valley.
Dark.
Yeah, in that dark place.
Yeah.
I tried everything. At the end of the day, when obviously your parents had entered into a covenant with God on top of your head. There's nothing you can do. I tried everything and nothing was working, and I just found myself in a place where I was crying out to God again and asking Him to find me, because I don't know how to put into words, but I tried to find my way back to God. I was not seeing my way. I tried everything. At some point, I just had to cry out and ask God to find me, help me find my way, because I couldn't find my way back. And somehow God met me, saw me in that place that I was, and sent 1 or 2 people again to my life that talked to me, and somehow I just went to church. And when I went to church that day, it was like about me. You know how God works.
Yeah, like the preaching, the entire service was for you.
Everything was about me. and that was how I go back. That was a major mistake I made. Obviously, I didn't know. It took me back years.
Okay.
But somehow God brought me back.
So I'm going to cut in on that and ask you something. Was there a major experience, or was there something that happened that made you feel like, okay, I've had it to this point. Now I am going to really become that bad girl? And by the way, let me mention this. There's definitely nothing with being a bad girl. You know, the Bible says, raise up a child in the way he should go. When he is old, he will not depart. Now, if you extrapolate that scripture, you would see that it means that that child could deviate when they are young. But when they are old, they won't deviate. They will come back, just like the prodigal son, if you have raised them in the right way. So I would give kudos to your parents, because they've put something in you that no matter how far you went, that voice was still in your head. All you did was to try to shut it down, because every once in a while that voice will still speak to you like, you don't misbehave, what's in the wrong all right. So, but you would rather insist and shut the voice down, but eventually spoke up. So I'm saying that there will always be that moment. So if you're a parent watching this and your child is currently misbehaving, don't throw in the towel. Don't give up, because they will definitely come back. Just be sure that you've done the job. If you didn't do the job, well, it's a 50-50. Yeah, but if you did the job, if you put in them the word, if you raised them in the right way, relax. Just keep praying for them, keep loving them. Keep your arms open, because sometimes they want to now come back and we've closed the door and thrown the key in the Sambisa forest. Because just like the prodigal son's father, he kept the door open. And that's even why the son knew, even while he was still away, that there's a chance my dad will accept me. Even though I'm now pregnant, there's a chance that my dad will accept me. Even though I've done 10 abortions, there's a chance. Because while I was at home, I saw the chance. While I was at home, my dad loved me, not because I was perfect, but because I was his son.
Exactly.
So we need to be that kind of parents that show that love. I'm not talking about pampering your child. That pampering, by the way, is the negative word. That's not what I mean. I mean loving your children, loving them like if a father would love, like God loved us, all right? So, but I will come back to that. So I was going to ask you a question. Was there something that happened that made you now say, okay, now let's keep this Bible aside and go do some gigs?
Yes, like I said, a lot of things happened, and they happened at the same time.
Okay.
Happened at the same time. First, I was in med school, that's medical school.
Okay.
And I wrote, if you guys know what second MBBS is
like a medical examination.
It's a medical exam, and that particular one was like, it's always like a do or die affair.
Okay.
Every medical student.
You fell off and fell out.
If you fail, you're failing out, or you might repeat a year or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I it's surprising, but up to now, people think I finished up as people think I'm a doctor. Well, I'm not a doctor. I didn't finish up med school. So at that point, I failed that medical. I failed, not that I was asked to resit, not that I was asked to repeat a year. I was asked to fail and fail out of medical school.
Oh, wow.
And at that point, I was serving in FECA.
Okay.
I was serving in FECA. I was doing a whole lot for God. I was music director in school, so I was not hidden.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like, if, oh God of mercy. If it were that I wasn't doing anything for God,
yes, it would be easy to hide.
I could not be hidden. Like,
I get the point.
Dominion City in school then had like the biggest choir. So I was music.
You were visible enough. I get it. So it's like a national failure.
Oh my God. I was like, if I had failed and it was just me, I would have said, okay, but it was like I failed God, I failed the church, I failed my pastors, I failed home, I
Your
failed
fellowship, you
Jesus.
failed.
Like, I failed.
And you apparently had mentees, right?
Oh my God. Of course, I had people looking up to me. I had, but that was not even the problem, because I don't know how God has always made me to be. I'm very soft, but like inwardly, I'm
Tough.
strong. Yeah. But not just that. There was also something else that maybe on a later time I can disclose.
Yeah.
But there was something major that was also going on in my spiritual life that I did not understand.
Okay.
I was like, what exactly is going on? And I tried to reach out to pastors. I was crying out. Like, I was literally telling people something is wrong with me and I need. But you know, devil now. As I fixed appointment with the pastor, they would just say he had an urgent appointment. This one,
You can't say them again.
Like, it kept happening. There was a particular point just to see a pastor. I fasted just so that particular appointment at the end of the day was still cancelled. I was like, no. no, God, are you not seeing? That means, like, I wanted to speak Igbo. Like,
go ahead, please.
I didn't get it. Do you understand? If it were that I wasn't reaching out, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, I wasn't.
Yes.
But I was like, good, you're seeing me trying to reach out, you're seeing me trying not to sink, and you're not doing anything about it. And all these things are happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, like her. So in everything, it was too much. It was not just about the failure in med school.
Yeah.
It was everything happening.
So, and all of them happened almost at the same
at
time.
the same time.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It is not strange, really. It could be one of those predominant experiences, but being a teenager comes with a lot. When we say these things, we know what we're saying. Come on. Being a teenager comes with a lot. Particularly when you're away from home, when you're the one catering for yourself emotionally, you don't have that coverage. You don't have that succor. You are just exposed to the deep blue sea, and all you are doing is trying to find your feet. So it can be a lot, and that's why, like you said initially, teenagers, you need a mentor.
Exactly.
Your teenager needs a mentor. A mentor is someone that they can always be vulnerable with.
Yes.
To say, this is what I want to do. Recently, one of my teenagers called me and said, Auntie Precious, I want to have a girlfriend. And this is something that he can't try around the parents. You won't think it. Are you mad? But we had a conversation that at the end of the conversation, he was like, why was I thinking that? Come on. Where did that thought come from? And that's what a mentor can do.
Yes.
They help you see in the spot where you are blind. Because definitely as a teenager, there are things going on that you can't explain. But someone can look at it with an oversight and just see, I've seen it all. Yes. Oh yeah, sit down, let me talk to you. They will tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll be like, whoa, I see. Okay, is this what it is? And it can be so simple that you'll be wondering, how come I didn't know these things? Very true. That's why you need a mentor, you need a coach, you need someone in your teenager's life, a trusted adult.
Yes, please.
A trusted adult that can guide them every step of the way. And I think that's why a lot of people deviate. You were lucky in your own case that you came back, because a lot of people left and they didn't come back because
they didn't find their way back.
Yes, because they didn't. There wasn't that reminder for them that there's a place you're coming from, there's who you are, and all of that. So away from that, I'm going to ask you, what was your best teenage experience? Or was there an aha moment for you that you felt like, woohoo, this is it? So
okay, so best moments for me in life generally has always, I usually tell one of my mantra is the way I catch fun is having success.
Okay.
Yeah, so because I've already told you the way I grew up, I wasn't very outgoing, parties and all of that. So the way I catch my fun, I have my high, is when I succeed at something. It could be at school, it could be in church, maybe singing or something. So one of my best moments as a teenager was when I came out tops in class, being celebrated in the general
overall best.
assembly. Thank you. It was like everything, right?
Yeah.
Being celebrated in the assembly, giving some badges, some awards and stuff like that. And I remember when I had...
You were lucky. I never got one.
Our parts are
Not one.
Yeah, I remember when I had changed school, so I moved to... Doesn't make mention the name of the school anyway.
A different school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got to the school when they were about to write. I think just a week or so, they were about to write their exams. So everybody was scared for me that how is this girl going to pull through and all. And surprisingly, I came out. I think I was the second.
Whoa.
And so it was like all eyes were on me, like who is the new girl that just came? And then
your shoulder went up a notch.
I've always loved the background though. Of course, those moments were beautiful. And then music, worshiping in church was Jesus. I cannot trade that for anything. Those moments in Feka when I would lead worship and it's like heaven is kissing head. I couldn't trade those moments for anything. They were like the peak.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to get to the next question, which is, if you were to be a teenager again, what would you do differently?
Whoa.
Like, are there stops in your life where you say, okay, so at this stop, I'm going to do this differently. Over here, I'm going to do this. But are there things they're going to do more, do better, engage in, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would learn how to make more meaningful friendships.
Okay.
Not even till now, I don't even want much friends, but I would have loved to be more, what's the word now? Particular in, more conscious in building
quality
relationships that would stay. Because sometimes I look from way back. I had people that I rode, like, I was never the kind of person that you don't talk to her. No. I was just free with everyone, but I never really had... I would just finish secondary school and bye. That's it too. I never carry...
You don't carry over relationships?
As I'm thinking, that's it too. Like, I don't
Some of us use rope to tie all the friends and we are dragging them to the next level. We move.
I went to like how many schools? Because at some point family had issues with finances, so I changed schools. But surprisingly, I can't even pick anyone from
all of those schools.
And actually it's not so good because relationships are powerful and
human beings are capital indeed.
Yes. So you have to build from that young age, because if you watch most of the top men in several industries today, what took them there is a network of people that the circle they had.
Absolutely.
And that circle didn't just come up when they were at the top.
Sure.
Most of them came up together.
You can't even trust those ones you build at the top. It is the one that have gone through with you, seeing the hard, the good, the bad, the ugly with you. They're the ones that you take up there.
Like the people that are even in my, like we now, it's because we were coming from FECA together.
Definitely.
Exactly. So these are things that I had to now work on. I wish I had known them. And it will even help you as a young person to grow more mature and even marry early. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's one of the major things I would have done. I would have had more fun. The way
the fun came out, you can tell that this was really missed. I missed it.
I did not have fun. I did not play. So most times my friends be like, those that are close to me, if you see me outside, I'm like, I don't talk, I'm just on my own. But if I'm free with you, my God, I can be, not that I'm always, I can be the life of the party, but I'm always that one that will disturb you. So most of my friends will tell me, it's because you know all the play that you would have played.
You're covering up now.
So I would have had more fun. I would have been just a little bit more outgoing. And I think I still go back to that mentor thing. I think I would have wanted to connect with a mentor at a younger age so that I can build my life success-wise, like what I wanted to do, understand myself more from a younger age. It would have helped me to achieve more than where I am right now. So parents, I think if you want your children to achieve more, it starts from, when they are little. It's not when they are 25. Then you now start reminding them that
it's
you have
already
to be
late.
great. You have to do no. You have to. It starts from little. So these are the things that I know that I would have done better.
Okay, awesome. You've already gotten to the started answering the next question I was going to ask you. You know, which is a word of advice to parents who are currently raising a teenager, because it is one thing to have a curriculum in your head, to have a standard in your head. It's another thing to be sure it works. And one way you can be sure it works is if you see someone that is being used on. So if you share some of the things here, maybe parents could now see, okay, this pattern may not work, or this pattern may work better. So you've already started. So I don't know if you have one more word of advice.
Word of advice.
To parents who are raising teenagers.
Don't think you know teenagers, or you don't know them.
I like that part. Because you can be swearing and saying, this my girl, she's this, she's that, she's Basmos.
That no at all. Where they wear their Miriam from the house and change somewhere else. You don't know. So don't think you know how. You see, the same way that they took you through marital class at Biwot when you're about to get married. Some of the mistakes that we make is that you're about to give birth. Did you ever go through parenting class?
That's the thing.
But you did that when you were about to get married. You did that when you wanted to start a business.
Some people even think parenting is not something that they should be taught.
It is,
or it's something that you just know. It's a natural thing. You're not an animal. It's only animals that will do that. That you just give birth and then start raising them. We are here, and go ahead.
You have to hone that parenting is a skill. You have to hone it, especially with the kind of world that we're in today.
Thank you.
You can't be thinking that the thing that had happened before work for you will work exactly the same way. So please be open to people who are already into the teenage ministry, people who are working with teenagers. Be open to them. If you need to talk to them, learn from them, read books. On teenage, on parenting. Even if you don't have all the time to read books, if you can just get some materials, search out reasonable materials from well-known people that you can trust, and just know. That's just what I'm saying. Get some knowledge on training these ones, because you might think you know.
If not, you'll be shocked. You will wake up one day and realize that you raised a stranger.
They know more than us now.
Absolutely.
They do. They know more than, and when your child, it's just like you having let's say you're my mentor and I'm the mentee. I actually came to you for mentorship. And then in the process, I realized that I don't this my mentor. I know more than my mentor. What will happen? You will leave. I will stop listening to it. Will just somehow happen. Like maybe I'm still loyalties because I already have that thing. True. But when you get to the point where you know that I even know more than this mentor, the person I came to
you zone off.
It happens the same thing.
In fact, you know what? Someone that was in a podcast the last time, she said if you needed 50% level of knowledge to raise toddlers, you need more than 100 to raise a teenager. Because anything you say, they can Google it and confirm.
They feel they know more than you.
They know, so you need to top up. You need to top up.
So that's one of the major advice I would give. You need knowledge. Don't just feel that you can handle this on your own.
Okay.
If you need to take a course on parenting, do. I remember why I'm saying this is also because my pastor's wife, she was like, I think she took a course of recent, how to handle children and everything, and she was like, hi. And her children are all grown now, they're in uni.
You'll be seeing the errors.
In fact, she said she called her children and she was apologizing to them.
You will see the errors. You think you know what you are doing until light comes.
The pastor's wife, like she's my pastor's wife. So I'm not telling you just So if somebody like that is still apologizing that she didn't know, so she didn't. So now you have the chance. Please, if you can still take a course, do. And then, please don't give them a chance to open up to you.
Yeah.
That's where I'll still bring back this issue of mentorship. Why I keep bringing this issue is because, you are this person's mother. That emotion is there. If peradventure, let me say I'm a teenage girl and you're my mom, and God forbid, I slept with a guy, or I broke my virginity or something like that, and I come to you and I tell you, I'm so sorry, I broke my virginity. It will break you down. Yes, you might try to be strong and everything. It will break you down. So where a mentor comes in is there are certain things that you might not be able to handle.
Yeah.
That mentor might be able to take it more and give the right, handle it properly.
Counsel.
Let me just put it that way. Handle it properly
True.
more than you at that point. And even your teenager will know that this one I can tell mom to this one, or she might take this one, but this one that I just did, it will break my mom. She might not take it. If she
Or let
doesn't
me
have,
come through the mentor.
that's it. If she doesn't have someone else to fall back to, that's an issue. But if she does, she will go to this mentor and undress, say what she had done, and then the mentor can channel it properly. So, the other thing I was saying is that you should be able to give your teenagers space to talk to you, space to feel free, to say what it is they want to say, and don't always judge them, because if you judge them once, twice, they are gone. So that's where I now brought in the part that if you feel that you can't handle certain things, you need someone else
Get
that
someone
can
on
step
board.
it down for you. And
Definitely. You've just talked about this. So you're trying to say that parents should they should connect with their teenagers, because you can't correct who you've not connected with. If I just meet you on the street and just look at you, this thing that you rubbed on your mouth, is it good? Is it good? This thing, the way you're dressing, I'm a stranger. There's no connection.
You even attract disrespect to yourself, because
I would insult
why are you correcting me?
Yeah, who are you? Who gave you the audacity?
And trust teenagers now.
But if you've connected with this person, you listen to them, you don't judge them, you respect their boundaries, you make them feel seen and heard. Come on, guess what? The first time they are discouraged, the first time they meet their first terrible time or moment or experience, guess who they're going to talk to? You. But if you are always, like you said, they say something, you don't even listen to them, there's no time to talk, or you just want them to be this clean Christian, no sports, no wrinkle type of Christian. That's the version they're going to serve you. But if they go outside, they will become what they want to become.
Exactly.
They'll become, we have a lot of teenagers, people at home, you know them as Mary at home, in school, you know them as Stella
Cynthia.
or Cynthia. They are two different identities, and you don't want a teenager to be in that place. All right. So what our guest today is just trying to let us know is that you should connect and bond with your teenager. So on this channel, we bring resources and things that will help you to better connect with your teenager, things you could do with them, family rituals, connection tools, things you can do with them to help you bond and connect, so that when it's time to correct, you will do it from a place of love, and they will accept it, knowing that mommy got me, daddy got me. They're not just doing this to rub me, rub me black. They are really doing it from a place of love. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how we bring today's episode to an end. Thank you so much, Yuji, for coming.
So much.
I feel so honored to have you in the studio today. Thank you for sharing your vulnerable moment. Thank you because it means that you really want others to learn from it. And I really appreciate that. And all thanks to parents out there who are doing great and incredible things to raise the next set of leaders, the tomorrow, personalities. We want you to know that we're rooting for you, and we want you to do a great job. That's why we are advocating that you should do it from a place of knowledge. So on this note, thank you again. My name is Precious Flourish Ifani, your favorite host on this podcast, Everything Teen. See you again in the next episode.